Hello and welcome back to NAB 2019. My name is Nick Marchese, the brand ambassador for OneSource Video, and we are back at you at the B&H booth here in Central Hall for the OneSource Video production workflow. Coming to you now, we have Theo Stalls, one of our great manufacturers, the CEO of Fieldcast. Theo, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us, and I'm happy to be here and talking to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're
thanks.
so excited to talk about Fieldcast and all the great things that you guys have going on. So I just want to start off with, for people that might not know Fieldcast
Yeah.
right now, talk a little about who you are, what you do, the products.
Well, we are a company from Holland, the Netherlands, and we are specializing in fiber optic solutions for studio and for live events, which means that we try to bring products that are in balance to the kind of products that are being used, like the cameras and the switches from several companies like Blackmagic and others. And I think we fill the gap in terms of getting the right price level for products that are fiber oriented.
So you do the research, you see what's out there in these different broadcast situations and solutions, and you come up with the products that are going to, the fiber optic products that are going to make that possible, right?
Yes, we have the cable. So one thing is you need cable that is light and connectors that are small because the cameras become smaller. And you need some kind of adapters. We can talk about these products in a minute. We are building also converters, and we are building multiplexers and other products, and all aimed at the market as it is developing at this moment. Smaller cameras, smaller crews, smaller budgets also, and the fiber optics industry is, from our point of view, a little bit lagging behind, and we want to be at the forefront and get the right product at the right price and with the right features for this broader market.
That's incredible. So now for users that are out there, why fiber optic cable? What's the advantages there? What's so important about fiber optic?
Well, I think the most important thing, and everybody should be aware of it, is that copper connection with 4K and beyond is really becoming an issue if you want to get your signals over a longer distance. So depending on the quality of the cable, with copper it ends up at 60, 70 or 80 meters when you want to go 4K. So for instance, if you want to go 200 meters or longer, which is not a big distance in live event situations, then you can't use copper anymore to make the most basic connection between your camera and the OB fan at the other side. That's the thing.
So what are some of these? So we're talking about different live event situations. What are some great situations now, or clients and customers that you see that really need fiber optic now? Like now these different live events you're saying, and
Yes.
new situations because they have to run that long distance. Right.
Yes. Yes, and the thing is, if you see how the industry, the companies that are bringing cameras to market, they are bringing 4K cameras, even 8K cameras to market at very decent prices. But they always, the users always get the same problem when they want to use these cameras in these kind of live events or even studio situations. It's the distance. They can't connect the camera to the switcher with copper. It's impossible when you want to go 100 meters or longer. And that's an issue. And fiber is solving that problem, but there are a lot of other reasons why fiber optics is interesting and in some respects even revolutionary. But let's just start with the basic things, making it possible for people to use fiber optics in everyday live events and studio situations. So that's the focus of many of our products.
Right, and then you said too, the fiber cable that you create, it's thinner, it's lighter. Is
Yes.
it lighter?
Yes, I can show you a
please,
little
yeah,
bit
show
how
us some
it
stuff.
looks like.
Very excited to see it. Wow.
This is an example, but maybe now I have to put the microphone down.
That's right.
Yes,
I got
for
you
a
here. We could.
This is one thing that people are amazed of. This is very flexible fiber optic cable, yes, and people
Right.
are afraid that it breaks. But you can do this. You can't do this.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And people think fiber optic connectivity is vulnerable and it breaks, but it doesn't. If the protection of the cable is well done, then fiber optic core, the real cable in the middle, it can break, but it can't break if you have the right way of protecting it.
And that's something special in your manufacturing process that you guys.
Not necessarily, but we think we have one of the better flexible cables. But we are not, I have to be honest in that we are not unique in having flexible fiber optic cable, but we think we have a very good version of it.
Right. It looks beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, and the second thing, which is also important with lighter cameras, is that we have a very small form factor connector.
Right.
This looks like the connector, but when I show it as it really is, I think I can get it. One moment, I get them. There we go.
Wow.
You can see how very small the actual connector is.
Yeah.
And it's light, but it's very strong. I can give you a demonstration of what good connections of fiber optics are capable of. This is, in fact, this is a demo cable, and I'm now screwing up, but who cares? It's so this is an example of how we think things should be done. We have our own cable, our own connector. We have here an example of one of our products. It's a SDI to fiber converter.
Oh, wow.
And we built the connector straight into the converter.
Really?
So this means that when you have connected it, you have a connection which is pretty, no, it's very, very robust. You can just...
so that's not pulling out by mistake.
No, you can't do this even with copper. So in fact, when you have the right ways of doing it, fiber optic connection is way more robust than most of the copper connections that people are used to. And you can see it here.
Right, and that's the last thing you would want to have happen at a live event is your cable pulls out.
Exactly, exactly.
There wouldn't be much point to filming it then.
Exactly, and that's exactly where we come in. Everywhere where we see that a hell of a product has some flaws in terms of vulnerable connection to fiber, we can come up with an adapter which solves the problem. And maybe this is a kind of a bridge to the product that we have for studio camera.
Yeah, please.
And the product that we now have a special bundle for the end user to use with studio camera.
With the Blackmagic, the studio. Yeah, please. We'd love to see it, please.
I don't have the studio camera here, so I can't do a full demo. People can come to our booth to see it in full glory, but I can show you the principle.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
The thing is that many of the fiber optic products, they have a standard connection, which is a connection with a, as they call it, an SFP. And the SFP is the actual piece that does the conversion from copper to fiber. So what comes out and what is being received in this unit is light. So this is the thing that you put into the SFP cage of studio camera. When you connect a standard cable to it, which is LC, this is, you could call it a de facto world standard connection. It's a very good connection. It's being used all over the world in telecom and IT, but the issue with it is that this is a vulnerable connection. It can break. And if this is inside of the camera and this is your actual cable running through the studio or through the field, if somebody stumbles over it, it just kills the connection. So how to solve that? Well, we have our adapter and I will show you the parts. This is the main part, which is a passive box which bridges from LC to our own connector.
Oh, okay.
So what it does, I can show you with the actual plate that will be connected to the back. So if this is connected to each other, you can connect this to the side of a studio camera. And then at one side, I now had it upside down. At one side you have our cable, and at the other side you have a small patch cable which makes the connection from this adapter to the camera.
And now you're getting the benefits of using fiber off
Yes.
of the camera. Right,
Yes,
right.
you go straight into the camera, so nothing has to be changed to the camera
Right.
at all. But you have a very robust connection, and now if somebody stumbles over the cable, then at least the connection, fiber connection, isn't killed.
Right,
Maybe
right, right.
you kill the complete camera, but
Pull the whole thing down. But
yeah.
so that's awesome. So now what's this? So what else is going on here? There's something about there's a bundle that was.
What we thought was if we could just show people using a studio camera in combination with a studio converter or talkback converter, if we show for one camera how the connection is made and do it at a very decent price point, then people can just try it out and see how well it is designed and
Right.
how shall I put it, how easy it is to use, and then at a later point decide to do it for 4 cameras or more. So the complete system, the complete bundle is the adapter as such, and I have explained the adapter. You get the short patch cable which makes the connection to the camera. You get a complete 100-meter cable on drum, and you get the panel which has to be, I will show it to the camera, the panel which can be connected, which can be screwed in the flight case or the rack, and you connect at the back. This is actually our chassis connector. I will open it. So at the front you can see this is the connector, and the cable that I just showed can be screwed on this at the front. And at the back there is a fan-out cable, as we call it, and this can be connected at the back side of the studio converter or talkback converter. We are not finished yet, because what you need also is in the essential part, which is the SFP to put into the camera cage, and at the other side the second SFP which can be connected in the cage which is in the studio converter. So this, the whole chain is in a nutshell, this is the SFP in the studio converter. It connects to this chassis connector. The chassis connector connects to the cable of 100 meters. The cable connects to the adapter which is at the side of the camera, and from the adapter there is a small patch cable which connects to the SFP which is inside of the cage of the camera.
So it's the whole system. It's the whole solution to get yourself going. Then
Yeah. It's turnkey for one camera.
That's incredible. So then if someone has multiple cameras, if they're doing multi-camera production, they would be replicating that setup for each camera then?
Yes. We have this is the Kickstart bundle, as we call it. We have an upgrade bundle, so everybody who is buying a Kickstart bundle can upgrade at a special price to 4 cameras. So this is, I hope, and I'm convinced that you will do everything to help us to...
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is, I think, a good step to get people used to fiber optics, and especially the people who are a little bit reluctant and think, as I explained, it's not as vulnerable as people think. Who think it's vulnerable, we want to convince them how easy it is to use, and believe me, everybody who is using fiber optics, people don't want to go back to copper connections. It's more transparent, literally more transparent than everybody thinks it is.
So when did it start becoming so popular, fiber optics? Was it, because technology was advancing, because cameras were getting better, or people want to go longer distances? What is it, do you think, now that made it change or become bigger now?
Well, the first thing we already talked about that. The first thing is that it's a kind of a necessity because without fiber you can't do decent distances.
Right.
I think so. We'll take over. And this means that whatever happens, people are more or less forced to go fiber, to
Right.
go longer distance. That's the first thing. What happens now, and this is an interesting point, is that the moment we are embracing fiber optics as an alternative to copper, something else happens because now it becomes apparent that with fiber optics you can do more and you can do different, and this is an enriching experience. One of the examples is, I don't have it here, but at the booth. Well, before I forget, I will, else my partner will be very mad at me if I don't mention it. I had some paper here with the boot number.
So I think your booth
Yes,
number
here
was
it is, C12046, which is pretty nearby the actual studio.
right in
that we are
Central
sitting
Hall,
at.
yeah.
Yes, Central Hall. So I did what I had to do.
you
mentioned
showed
the
it.
number.
C12046 for Fieldcast.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So what were we talking about? Yes, it's becoming, now people are more or less forced to go fiber because of the distance. People are going to embrace it because it brings new possibilities, and one of the possibilities is that there are pretty easy ways of doing more than one signal over one fiber.
Right. But
Which-
that's awesome.
Yeah, which means that you need way less cabling to do very interesting things. We have, for instance, multiplexers. It's our own hardware that do 4-channel or 8-channel or even 16-channel of
Wow.
video, and this can be 4K or even 8K video over just one fiber.
That's incredible. It's even
Yes.
more cost effective then too, right? To be able
Yeah.
to run one cable down, or if you're going an extremely long distance.
Yes, yes. And now sometimes it happens that there is already fiber optics infrastructure in some building and people don't use it. And then if we are lucky, it's single mode cable. We don't go too deep into it now. There is a difference between single mode and multi-mode. And you have to be, you shouldn't mix up both. But to come back on what I wanted to tell you, if you are lucky and there is single mode cable in a building infrastructure, then indeed you can, you only need one box on one side and one box on the other side of the cable, and you can go up to 16 channels.
That's incredible.
Multiplexing over one cable, over one fiber. And the nice thing is it's not doing anything to the integrity of the signal.
Really? Wow.
Nothing. It's just as if you would go over one cable.
And that's just because it's fiber in general, because fiber is
Yeah,
capable
because
of that?
fiber, I don't want to go too deep into it in this interview, but fiber optics, you know, most of the fiber optic products that are being used in broadcast are not using fiber to the full extent. There is way more possible, and there is only a small part that is being used, so to speak. What in fact is well, let me put it this way. Single mode, it's the fiber that the technology that is used the most in our industry, in the broadcast industry, has a certain bandwidth, and it's just a color of infrared, and it's some figure in nanometers. So most SFPs, like these ones, they are using 1310 nanometers, where the bandwidth of a single mode is way broader. So you can use another color like 1330, 1350, 1370, 1390, etc. It's jumps of 20 nanometers. And all these different colors are different channels you can send over the same fiber. And these colors literally don't know from each other, and they don't interfere with each other. That's the background.
That's kind of incredible, actually.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's Really, I said some of this stuff is awesome for me to hear because I've known about fiber, but you know the specifics of what you can do with one cable and without the interference is really incredible. So, so what else is new for Fieldcast? Anything else new for the show as well? Something with PTZ cameras?
We have
or?
a few new products at the booth, and tomorrow we have everything running. There were a few bags few boxes not coming in. The courier screwed up,
Right.
so we can't even show at this moment at our booth all products, but tomorrow we can. There is two interesting new products, I think. One is specially designed for PTC camera control. We have, I hope I can put it in a nutshell, we have a product which consists of three elements. One element is called fiber base. It's a one rack unit to be put in the OB van.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a fiber node unit, which is also a one rack unit box, which communicates to fiber base with one SMPTE cable. And we all know, I think, the SMPTE cable,
Yep.
which was in our Blackmagic world introduced by Blackmagic Design last year.
Right.
To
We're using one right now for our camera. Yeah.
So this SMPTE cable is capable of doing AC power, and you can power up the fiber node unit, which can be any place in the field at a strategic point.
Right.
So the idea is why not use two boxes instead of one? One box is the fiber base, which is in the OB van.
Mm-hmm.
The other box is the fiber node, which is in the field. And the only connection between the two boxes is a SMPTE cable.
That's incredible.
Now, the thing you will ask me, of course, is what does this second box do? Because
Yes.
connecting two boxes is not not that interesting, maybe. But the second box has, in our first product, 4 output channels. No, input channels, I should say, that can be connected to our third part in the chain, and this is the PTC Monk, as we call it. It's a strange name, maybe, but we like the name.
I like
Monk.
the name. I like the name.
Thank you. And
You
these
got my
monks,
approval.
they are connected to the PTC cameras.
Okay, so you have a couple of PTC cameras that are connecting to that node there. Then it's
Yes.
okay.
Yes. And the idea behind this setup is that you can use the SMPTE cable to do the first distance from the OB van.
Which could be your longest distance, right?
Exactly.
Right.
From in many cases in live events, you hear it everywhere. Is that when you drive to the gig, you think that you can park your OB van next to the stage, but in reality, you are in most cases parked at a most inconvenient spot. So when you can bridge the first part using SMPTE cable, you can go, if you want to, 2 kilometers if you have the cable,
Right.
and then have full functionality at the end of the cable, and you don't need power at that specific.
That is absolutely incredibly smart. And I'm thinking about so many
Yeah.
different events that happen in different days. That's fields or parks or places where it's true how far away you are, and especially that you might not have power on one end. And you're running it all through that cable.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes, and then from that node on, we split up into 4 cables, which
Right.
is the thinner Fieldcast cable with the
Right.
smaller connectors,
And
and you
tie it
can
up.
go to the PTC Monk per camera, and the Monk has Ethernet and SDI connection and power out. So once connected, to go back into the chain, the PTC camera is fed by the Monk. The Monk is fed by the node, and the node is fed by the base, and the whole chain gets the power from the power plug inside of the OB van. That's
It perfectly
idea
makes
behind
sense. It's so smart to do it that way. And I think about all these scenarios of someone's again doing live music events or they're doing sport events, places where they'll typically need to use a few PTZ cameras and need to be at a distance. That's again that totally solves that problem that somebody could have. I mean, you really are providing solutions to problems that I could see people face or that we know that they face.
Yes, and I think we are pretty at the forefront of trying to come with products that are meant for the market of today, which is the
Right.
smaller, lower cost cameras. Nobody will buy very expensive fiber optic cable for relatively low cost equipment.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So
And even like Blackmagic, as you know, the price points are lower on many of
Exactly.
the cameras, so it perfectly makes sense. So Theo, this was so interesting, all the stuff that you provided today. Your booth number, again, is C12046.
Yes.
Yes, and tomorrow you'll have all your stuff set up
Yeah.
for Tuesday, and people can check in with you now. So if they want to learn some more information about Fieldcast, is there a website we can send them to?
Yeah, it's our own website, obviously. It's www.fieldcast.eu, and I can take the back, which by the way, I meant to I'm not a native speaker, so excuse me if I
No, of course. We
use the wrong words, but you can read it.
Yep.
It's www.fieldcast.eu. These bags are available at the booth. So
if you want to get a cool bag, you got to go to the
If you
booth.
need a bag, come to the booth.
That's fantastic. So it's been wonderful. So again, learn more about Fieldcast. Fieldcast is available through B&H. B&H is selling here at the show. A lot of great specials going on. Theo, thanks so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
It was an absolute pleasure.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Stay
for
with
me
us
also.
here. Wonderful. Stay with us here at One Source Video at the production workflow booth at B&H for some more great manufacturers just like Theo from Fieldcast that are going to be here all week. We'll see you guys next time.